My name is Levi Cottrell. Welcome to my documentary for English First Peoples, Literary Studies, and New Media 11. It will be focused on language revitalization in modern indigenous communities, specifically the Tahltan and Somaliac language reclamation projects. In the past few years, indigenous communities all across Canada and the rest of the world have started reclaiming and revitalizing their traditional languages. Many of them are using new technology like First Voices, a website built to share Indigenous languages along with their traditional practices to effectively teach their languages. The reason that Indigenous people are revitalizing their language is largely due to Canadian colonialism and its assimilation tactics. In Canada, one of the most harmful and widespread forms of assimilation was residential schools. For over 150 years, Indigenous children were taken from their homes and sent to residential schools with little to no supervision. Many died or were killed, and those who lived were sent back to their homes having lost their culture. Their languages were stamped out and assimilated into English and French all across the country. The last residential school shut down in 1997. In recent years, Canada has been working to repair their relationship with the Indigenous populations in Canada through their actions with reconciliation and reparations. They have done this through the creation of a few things, including Orange Shirt Day, as well as programs like the Indigenous Languages and Culture Program that support the reclamation and revitalization of languages that strengthen Indigenous cultural identity. The Tahltan people, the First Nation of Canada, live in a large section of northern BC and the southern Yukon. In the past few decades, the Tahltan central government has worked on the development and reclamation of traditional practices and cultures, specifically language revitalization. Edosti, a large and powerful voice for this push for revitalization of the Tahltan language, has spoke through her Tahltan language learning journey in this TED Talk.
Denez hotia, Edosti usha, Talsitan didena, hotsia esta tehi. Teskia esta tehi. Eskina et kaga te kacha. Tlabana de otzi jasini. First of all, I would like to thank and acknowledge the Tla'ale'Tine people upon whose territory the University of Northern British Columbia resides on for allowing me to share my Tahltan language learning journey. In my language, I shared with you about my name, my nation, my clan, my crest, and the land that my name comes from. My name is Edosti, which means someone who raises up pets and children, or someone who is a teacher. Edosti is a Tseskia name, which comes from the Tla'abarna territory, one of 3 Tseskia areas in our nation. From learning my language, I have felt the shame of being Indian beginning to lift. And my journey has helped not only me, but my family in becoming proud of who we are. My grandpa would talk about going to potlatches in Drytown, in Tlegoween, Telegraph Creek, when he was a young boy. He said Granny's uncle, Meninzaad, would open the potlatches speaking in the Tlingit, Kaska, and Niska languages, even if our neighbors weren't there, and even before he spoke Tahltan. My grandpa said this showed just how much respect we had for other nations and for their languages. My wish is for all of us to have that same respect, to have an awareness of whose lands we live upon, but as well, having an awareness of their languages and their cultures in order to show that respect that my grandpa spoke of. There are 60 Indigenous languages in 11 language families on the lands that we now call Canada. The revitalization and reclamation of these languages can help to raise up all Canadians, Indigenous and non-Indigenous alike. My passion for learning my language is important to me, not only on a personal level and a community level, but also on a global level. Utlandena, Usinsan, Ueta, Tligatanez, Sa, Estzaga, Kosti, Hedi, Kujimendi, Tligatanez, Kat, Ahuja. In my language, I'm quoting my dear friend Tlotlakulth, who has said, I've heard lots of people say, one day I'm going to learn my language. Well, you know, one day is here. Tlon Madu. Thank you very much.
Recently, the Tahltan Central Government's, or TCG, their language department has worked on the Tahltan Dictionary project. Within this project, they gathered as much information through Tahltan language keepers, knowledge holders, and others. I had the privilege of visiting the Tahltan territory and talking with many of the people who worked on this project and some of the elders who gave their knowledge to this. The Tsimshian people, another First Nation of Canada, live in the northwest coast of British Columbia. In recent years, they have begun the revitalization of their language, Somaliac, through extreme difficulty due to their average speaker age of over 70 years old. Kimberly Thompson, I interviewed recently to ask her about what she thinks the effects of language revitalization has been in her community.
So when I read that, I had to really sit with it. And I thought to myself, that's hard to answer because there isn't really one reason why it's important, the revitalization of our languages. But if I did have to say, one thing, I would use the word connection. Connection to ourselves, connection to our people, connection to the land. And it's how we find out who we are and where we come from. I grew up in Prince Rupert, Hain, and when I was in grade 5, I had the choice to take French or Somaliac, and I took Somaliac. Something even back then as a young girl, I knew that language was important to me. It's also honoring the lands of the people that I lived on. Like I grew up on Tsimshian territory. And to find that connection.
In the Tsimshian community and school districts, Somaliac has been taught from kindergarten to grade 12 for over 25 years, especially in School District 52. In the 25 years before that, it was taught in Tsimshian community schools. They partnered with both the University of Northern BC and Salmon Fraser University for many years to work on the Tsimshian Somaliac Language Authority and Somaliac Committee. One of their most recent projects has been putting together an online dictionary similar to the Tahltan Dictionary and language learning resources through First Voices. This enables people with fewer resources to access the language more easily. With these programs, they've seen many, many effects, of which Kimberly Thompson will discuss now.
Language is life-saving. It's transformative. It holds power. It holds our stories and our names, the places of where we live, our ancestors. It holds it all. And even just now, I'm sitting here, I kind of got goosebumps because, I say life-saving and transformative because it builds up self-esteem. It helps alleviate anxiety, not only in children, but in adults, it gives us a sense of belonging. So now stepping into this space of working within community and working with the people that live there, I see people coming into our spaces, our very safe, inclusive spaces that we are creating where people can learn language with no fear. We can talk about the things that are scary and we can be there collectively as a whole. There is a lot of trauma in our communities around our culture and our language. And so we're creating spaces where we don't have to feel afraid, places of freedom, and people are happier. People are speaking up. When you come into these spaces where you just have complete autonomy just to be yourself, people transform.
The impact of language revitalization can be seen across many Indigenous communities, further than just the ones that I've focused on today. With the integration of new technologies and resources with traditional knowledge and practices, language revitalization can be made more effective. as we saw with First Voices, the Tahltan Dictionary app, and so many more projects going on throughout Canada and the rest of the world. Language revitalization is an important part of healing in our cultures. Thank you for watching my documentary. I would like to thank both Idosti, Judy Thompson, for offering her TED Talk for this documentary, as well as Kimberly Thompson, who allowed me to interview her. I thank them for their knowledge and expertise on this topic and for taking the time to be interviewed. Thank you very much.